4 days into training camp, the Dallas Cowboys offense already looks nasty. Dak Prescott is dropping throws into windows defenders cannot reach. George Pickens is winning back shoulder fades against press coverage with no safety over the top. CeeDee Lamb is high-pointing footballs in Oxnard like it is Week 12 in December. None of that is the storyline that decides this season. The story is a third-round rookie out of Michigan who has been the loudest name at every practice so far, and what his arrival would mean for a defense that embarrassed this franchise a year ago. Here's the number that explains every move Dallas made this offseason. The Cowboys surrendered 511 points in 2025. That is the most in the NFL and the most in the 66-year history of the franchise, according to the team's own record book. They still scored 27.7 points per game, 7th best in the league, and they still finished with 7 wins, 9 losses, and a tie. Owner and general manager Jerry Jones answered that gap by hiring the youngest defensive coordinator in team history, spending both first-round picks on defense and chasing one trade he has not stopped talking about since April. So watch the rebuild happen in front of you. Christian Parker takes over the defense. The base front changes shape. Caleb Downs arrives as the 11th overall pick out of Ohio State. Rashawn Gary arrives from Green Bay. Jalen Thompson arrives from Arizona. And the season opens on Sunday Night Football at MetLife Stadium against a division rival that believes it is closing the gap. By the end of this breakdown, you will know whether Dallas is a real playoff team or another explosive offense dragging a defense that cannot hold a fourth quarter lead. But before we jump into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Cowboys and all the NFL content. Can we get 500 likes on this video? Start with the offense, because the offense is not the problem, and the numbers say so plainly. Dak Prescott threw for 4,552 yards in 2025, third most in the NFL, with 30 touchdown passes against 10 interceptions and a passer rating of 99.5. That earned him his 4th Pro Bowl selection at 32 years old. Pro Football Focus graded him 6th among quarterbacks as a passer. Dallas led the entire league at 278.5 passing yards per game. Anyone telling you the quarterback held this team back last season is arguing with the box scores. George Pickens turned his first season in Dallas into a career year. He caught 93 passes for 1,429 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns across all 17 games, made his first Pro Bowl, and earned second-team All-Pro honors. CeeDee Lamb played only 14 games with an ankle problem and a concussion, and still posted 75 catches for 1,077 receiving yards, his 5th straight 1,000-yard season. That streak puts him alongside Michael Irvin in franchise history. Jake Ferguson set a career high in catches at tight end and made his 2nd Pro Bowl. The weapons are not the issue here. The run game finally matched the passing game too. Javonte Williams signed a 1-year prove it deal worth $3 million and turned it into 252 carries for 1,201 rushing yards and 11 rushing touchdowns at 4.8 yards per carry. Dallas rewarded him in February with a 3-year extension worth $24 million, including $16 million guaranteed. The Cowboys averaged 125.6 rushing yards per game, 9th in the NFL. So Dallas fielded a top 10 scoring offense, a top 10 rushing attack, and the number 1 passing attack in football, and still missed the playoffs. That points in exactly one direction. Now the defense, and this is where the honesty has to start. Dallas allowed 30.1 points per game in 2025. No other team in the NFL crossed 30. They gave up 377 yards per game, which ranked 30th. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer fired coordinator Matt Eberflus after a single season. DeMarcus Lawrence had already left in free agency the year before. Micah Parsons was traded to Green Bay before the season started. And Jadeveon Clowney led the team in sacks with 8.5 before signing with Houston this week. That is the whole Christian Parker inherited. Parker is 34 years old and the youngest defensive coordinator the Cowboys have ever hired. He spent the last 2 seasons in Philadelphia as pass game coordinator and defensive backs coach under Vic Fangio, and he developed Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean into first-team All-Pro corners. Before that, he coached Patrick Surtain in Denver. Dallas is moving to a 3 and 4 front under him with a heavy sub-package emphasis. Veteran safety Malik Hooker framed the challenge honestly at the start of camp, saying it is about putting it all together and being disciplined with it. The pieces around him are new almost everywhere. Rashawn Gary came over from the Packers for a 2027 fourth-round pick and took a pay cut to make it work, arriving with 46.5 career sacks and 7.5 last season. Jalen Thompson signed a 3-year deal worth up to $33 million, the biggest free agent splash in Dallas since Brandon Carr in 2012. P.J. Locke, Kobe Durant, Darian Kendrick, and Otito Ogbonia filled out the depth. Donovan Eziruaku returns healthy after hip surgery, and he is direct about the goal, saying they don't draft edge rushers to not get any sacks. Here's the angle almost nobody is covering, and it changes how you should read this offense. Ryan Flournoy is a 6th-round pick from 2024 out of Southeast Missouri State, who was waived in August of 2025 and re-signed to the practice squad 2 days later. He finished last season with 40 catches for 475 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns on 56 targets. Pro Football Focus graded him 22nd out of 81 qualified receivers. For a third option on a team with 2 Pro Bowl wideouts, that is a serious return on almost no investment. The value shows up in the games nobody planned for. In Week 5 against the Jets, with CeeDee Lamb out, Flournoy caught 6 passes for 114 yards. In Week 14 against Detroit, after Lamb left with a concussion, he led the team with 9 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. Lamb himself called Flournoy a guy who has developed real confidence and flavor to his game. Let me be fair here, because the ceiling talk has gotten loud. Asking a third receiver to clear 1,000 yards behind those two is not realistic. Asking him to clear 600 is. Why does the third receiver matter this much? Money. George Pickens is playing 2026 on the franchise tag at $27.3 million fully guaranteed, and the July 15th deadline for a long-term deal passed without an agreement. Dallas has been open about the difficulty of paying 2 receivers at the top of the market. Executive Vice President Stephen Jones has said plainly, "We have zero intention of moving George Pickens. A cheap, reliable third option gives this front office leverage it would not otherwise have in 2027. Marquez Valdes-Scantling was added this spring for the same reason. Now let me put the draft class in order, because this is where the season actually gets decided. Dallas traded up 1 spot with Miami, sending picks 12, 177, and 180 to take Caleb Downs at pick 11. Downs won the Lott Trophy and the Jim Thorpe Award in 2025, was a 2-time unanimous All-American, and was named Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Jerry Jones described him afterward as a prize. The Cowboys refused to risk losing by waiting 1 more selection. Some evaluators had Downs as the best player in the entire class. Position value aside, Dallas then traded down from pick 20 with Philadelphia, picked up picks 114 and 137, and still landed Malachi Lawrence at pick 23. Lawrence finished his UCF career with 20 sacks, including 7 as a senior with 11 tackles for loss, and earned first-team All-Big 12 honors. He is raw against the run and needs mass, and the Cowboys have said as much publicly. That is a fair caveat. What he gives Parker immediately is speed off the edge opposite Rashawn Gary, and Dallas did not need him to be the best pass rusher on the roster in September. Which brings you back to the rookie from the opening. Jyshawn Barham went at pick 92 in the 3rd round out of Michigan after 2 seasons at Maryland. He posted 10 tackles for loss and 4 sacks in 2025 after moving to the edge in Week 3 under Wink Martindale. Dallas is starting him at off-ball linebacker. Through 4 practices, he has flashed as a blitzer, as a gap shooter against the run, and dropping into zone to break up a 2-point try. The Cowboys also traded a 5th-round pick to San Francisco for D. Winters, and DeMarvion Overshown is back after playing only 6 games last season. The division context is what makes all of this urgent. Philadelphia finished 11 wins and 6 losses in 2025 and took the NFC East again behind a defense that ranked among the league's best against the pass. Washington finished 5-12, the Giants finished 4-13 and enter this season under a new head coach in John Harbaugh. Dallas sat second at 7 wins, 9 losses, and a tie, and scored 471 points doing it, which was more than any other team in the division. The point differential still landed at -40. That is the arithmetic of a broken defense, not a broken roster. Run the counterfactual and it gets uncomfortable. Hold that same 20-25 team to 24 points allowed per game instead of 30.1, and Dallas gives up roughly 408 points across 17 games. The point differential swings from -40 to +63. Teams with that profile win 10 or 11 games. Dallas did not need a total rebuild to reach January. It needed 6 points per game. That is the entire case Christian Parker was hired to prove, and it is why the front office spent both first-round picks on that side of the ball. The schedule gives no cushion. Dallas opens on the road at the Giants on September 13th in prime time on NBC, then host Baltimore in Rio de Janeiro in Week 3, the first NFL game in Brazil for this franchise and its first international trip since 2014. A short week at Houston follows. Philadelphia comes to AT&T Stadium on Thanksgiving. Warren Sharp's numbers put this as the 4th toughest schedule in the NFL and the hardest in the division. There's no soft opening month to hide a slow defensive install. Now the trade, nobody in Dallas will let die. Jerry Jones told reporters at his camp press conference that the Cowboys did not walk away from the Max Crosby trade. Earlier this year, Dallas made 3 separate offers to Las Vegas, according to reporting compiled by ESPN. The first package sent pick 20 and defensive tackle Osa Odigizua to Las Vegas. The second swapped that out for pick 12 and a 2027 third-round pick. The third went back to pick 20 and attached a 2027 second-round pick instead. Raiders general manager John Spytek turned down all 3. Here's the part the highlight account skipped. Todd Archer of ESPN reported that Dallas did not re-engage in those talks, and the reason was Dallas, not Las Vegas. The Cowboys had their own concerns about Crosby's knee after his trade to Baltimore was voided by a failed physical. Take a breath on that one. Had Dallas won the bidding at pick 12, there is no Caleb Downs in this secondary right now. The deal that did not happen may be the best thing that happened to this defense all year. The interest has not cooled. It has changed shape, Stephen Jones said on 105.3 The fan that Dallas is weighing both trades and veteran signings. Kayvon Thibodeau gets floated constantly, and the fit is real. But he sits behind Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, and a first-round rookie in New York. And division rivals rarely help each other. Dallas also made its first roster moves of camp this week, signing offensive lineman Sebastian Gutierrez and waiving Charles Snowden with an injury designation. Snowden was already facing a 3-game suspension to open the season. So where does that leave you heading into the first padded practice? The offense is a finished product with a top 5 quarterback, 2 Pro Bowl receivers, a Pro Bowl tight end, a 1,200-yard runner, and every projected starting lineman under contract. The defense is close to 7 new starters, a new front, a 34-year-old coordinator, and a rookie safety already rotating through the green dot in practice. One of those units needs to stay healthy. The other needs to become ordinary. Ordinary would be enough to change the entire arc of this season. Here's my prediction, and you are free to tell me I am wrong. Dallas wins 10 games and takes a wild card spot in the NFC. Not the division, because Philadelphia is still the deeper roster, top to bottom, and one Thanksgiving result will not settle that. But 10 wins from a defense that finishes 15th in scoring instead of 32nd is entirely reachable with this offense. And I will go further than that. Caleb Downs finishes 2026 as the best defensive rookie in the NFC, and it will not be especially close. Drop your win total in the comments and tell me the number you would set for this roster. Then subscribe so you catch the pads on breakdown the moment the real hitting starts, and we find out whether Jyshawn Barham holds up against live blocking. Joint practices against the Rams and the Saints are next on the calendar in Oxnard. Those two sessions against another team's starters will tell you more about this rebuilt defensive front than every rep of the first 2 weeks combined.